The Newsline.
If you've been following our updates closely, you'll know that we've been covering developments in Syria extensively. In today's video, we bring you a critical update on the evolving situation on the ground, particularly the ongoing peace talks between Syria and the State of Israel. One of the central goals of these discussions is exploring the possibility of integrating Syria into the Abraham Accords. Unfortunately, these efforts face serious political hurdles. For example, the al-Sharaa administration has declared it will not tolerate Israeli airstrikes on Syrian soil under any peace agreement. It's important to clarify that Israel is already targeting selected sites inside Syria, military targets especially, primarily to prevent former regime military assets from falling into the hands of dangerous rebel factions. This stance by the Israeli government is understandable. When Assad fled the country, he left behind vast military infrastructure. Some of it fell into the hands of rebel groups previously loyal to his regime, many of them backed by Iran. These groups, along with others that entered Syria during al-Sharaa's rise, eventually helped him consolidate power. Today, these armed factions remain active and are responsible for various attacks, including the suicide bombing at a church on June 22, 2025, as well as other assaults targeting minority Muslim groups since Assad's fall. These developments pose a direct threat to Israel's national security. In the early days of al-Sharaa's regime, the Israeli Air Force launched targeted strikes on military assets to prevent them from being seized by rebels. Ironically, even al-Sharaa initially tolerated these operations, as they helped weaken his political rivals. But now that he has consolidated power and built diplomatic ties, even meeting with Donald Trump in person and gaining international recognition, including a recent visit from UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, he no longer wants Israel operating militarily within Syria. However, from Israel's standpoint, its airstrikes are purely defensive. The goal remains consistent: prevent foreign-backed terror groups from growing strong enough to threaten Israel's borders. For this reason, Israeli officials have made it clear that any future peace accord will not include a concession that undermines their right to self-defense. Syria has also demanded that Israel withdraw from several key areas, including the Golan Heights, the buffer zones, and territories seized by the IDF following the October 7, 2023, Hamas massacre. These zones serve a strategic purpose. They reduce the threat posed by Iranian-backed forces like Hezbollah. While Israel is open to negotiating control over these areas, it firmly opposes tying this to demands that would limit its ability to respond to threats from Iranian proxies operating on Syrian soil. Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar has been blunt in his criticism of the Syrian government, referring to President al-Sharaa as a terrorist cloaked in diplomacy. That's a serious charge, especially considering that al-Sharaa has garnered significant goodwill on the global stage, but there are good reasons for such a statement, and we'll cover them in a future video. For now, let's focus on what Sa'ar meant when he called the current peace process a cold peace. In simple terms, cold peace refers to a situation where former enemies formally end hostilities yet remain deeply distrustful and unfriendly. According to Israel, this agreement is not a pathway to genuine peace, but a practical arrangement to ensure civilian safety on both sides of the border. In reality, Syria may benefit more from such a deal than Israel. Israel has already secured its civilian population, while Syrian civilians continue to flee to the Israeli border seeking medical aid from the IDF, escaping the chaos caused by still active rebel groups. Critics argue that Syria's motivations are self-preserving. The peace accord, they say, is less about mutual trust and more about reducing domestic threats against Syria itself. Minister Sa'ar has emphasized that a true peace deal must not contain clauses that jeopardize Israel's right to defend itself. He added that any nation aspiring to global leadership must cooperate with the international community and avoid the isolationist, defiant path that Iran has taken. Some believe Syria is merely extending an olive branch to Israel to curry favor with the Trump administration. After all, despite deep divisions among Arab nations, one thing unites them: their opposition to the existence of a Jewish state. While countries like Saudi Arabia and Qatar maintain cordial diplomatic ties with the U.S. and have signed trade deals with Israel under the Abraham Accords, their public diplomacy is often a facade. Behind the scenes, they remain hostile toward Israel. It's worth remembering that Saudi Arabia was the first stop on President Donald Trump's inaugural foreign tour in 2017, a visit that signaled strong ties between the U.S. and the Arab world. Though Qatar wasn't included in that trip, it has maintained close relations with the Trump administration and played a subtle but pivotal role in the region. However, we also know Qatar continues to back Hamas through indirect channels, further complicating regional dynamics. So, it's not just Syria, even Qatar and Saudi Arabia maintain what can only be described as a cold peace with Israel. While trade and diplomatic agreements may exist, their long-term ambition remains unchanged, the weakening, if not the elimination, of Israel. We hope this comprehensive update has helped clarify the current dynamics between Syria and Israel. As always, we invite you to subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. People's TV remains committed to bringing you the truth directly and without compromise.
Subscribe us for more details.